Welcome to UK Voices 22. The cameras had barely rolled on the Graham Norton Show when an uncomfortable tension filled the studio. Meghan Markle, whose post-royal career has been plagued by endless controversy, arrived with hopes of promoting her podcast, attempting once again to prove that she was more than just a duchess-turned-celebrity. But it was Dame Helen Mirren, a woman celebrated for her wit, intelligence, and regal poise, who quietly stole the spotlight and delivered a moment that left Meghan visibly rattled. Viewers expecting a polite exchange witnessed instead an undercurrent of mockery that was impossible to ignore. Was this the night Meghan Markle's carefully constructed media persona finally cracked under the weight of genuine, dignified British humour? The answer, as the evening unfolded, seemed to be yes. From the very first exchange, Helen's subtle digs were sharper than they first appeared, and the studio audience sensed it immediately. This was not going to be an ordinary night. And here's where the curiosity deepens. What exactly did Helen Mirren say, and why did it strike such a humiliating blow to Meghan Markle's already fragile reputation? To understand why this moment carried such weight, one must first look at Meghan's relentless pursuit of validation through her podcast. Branded as a platform for authentic conversations, it instead became a stage where Meghan often painted herself as a victim of circumstance, exaggerating struggles in ways that critics argue alienated audiences rather than inspiring them. The industry buzzed with whispers of declining listeners, big-name sponsors pulling away, and the looming shadow of cancelled contracts. By the time she stepped onto Norton's stage, Meghan desperately needed a win. But Dame Helen, known not only for her Oscar-winning performances, but also her razor-sharp commentary, was not about to hand Meghan that victory. When the subject of Meghan's podcast arose, Helen tilted her head with that trademark smirk and asked the question that turned the room upside down. Is it a podcast, or just therapy with a microphone? The audience erupted. Meghan froze. That single line, laced with humor, but loaded with criticism, cut straight into the very foundation of her podcast brand. Norton's guests chuckled, the studio laughed, and Meghan's forced smile told the story of a woman unraveling in real time. The suspense didn't end there. Helen, with the elegance of a queen and the precision of a stage veteran, leaned further into the moment. She praised podcasts that offered fresh ideas, surprising takes, and clever storytelling, a list Meghan's work had conspicuously failed to live up to. Meghan tried to defend herself, fumbling through explanations of uplifting female voices, but Helen countered with the dry wit only a British icon could deliver. Yes, but it's uplifting if people are still listening, isn't it? Again, laughter roared through the studio. This was not the glamorous relaunch Meghan envisioned. Instead, her credibility, already shaky, was publicly dismantled in front of millions. And the curiosity loop tightened. Why did Helen's mockery sting so deeply, and what did it reveal about Meghan's entire post-royal project? The answer lies in the stark contrast between the two women. Helen Mirren embodies longevity, class, and respect, earned through decades of work. Meghan, on the other hand, is seen by many as someone who abandoned duty for Hollywood spotlight, yet struggles to master it. Every witty jab from Helen reminded viewers of what Meghan was not: authentic, respected, or resilient. This wasn't just banter. It was a symbolic showdown between dignity and desperation. As the show closed, Meghan's awkward smile remained frozen, but the damage was already done. Social media lit up instantly. Clips of Helen Mirren's subtle mockery circulated widely, with headlines declaring that Meghan had been put in her place by a true British legend. For an audience growing increasingly weary of Meghan's narrative of grievance, Helen's pointed remarks felt like a collective exhale, a release of frustration that many had been holding for years. And here's the loop closing. The title promised humiliation, and it delivered. Meghan Markle went to the Norton Show to promote her podcast, but instead walked away mocked, belittled, and overshadowed. Helen Mirren, without raising her voice or breaking her charm, dismantled the Duchess's carefully rehearsed facade in just a few sentences. It wasn't just television, it was a public reckoning. By the end of the night, the message was clear: when grace meets grievance, grace will always win. Meghan's attempt to reinvent herself was not just questioned, it was laughed at. And in the world of public opinion, laughter is the cruelest blow of all.